Alright, hopefully today I'm going to show you how to take a model and do two things. One is smooth it out if you have too many faces on it. The second is reduce its size by reducing the number of faces. Why would you want to smooth it out? For 3D prints, possibly? That's one example. Why would you want to reduce the file size and also the face size, the number of triangles? Well, because most software can't take huge files. Like you can't take, gigabyte files. It needs something with probably 300,000 faces or less. I think it is, like, for example, Tinkercad can only take 300,000. I think it's faces. Maybe it's triangles. I forget. And 3D software, stuff like Prusa Slicer or, Bamboo software, you can only import smaller size models. So those are the two reasons. You're going to come across this quite a bit. If it's a model you create, you're going to notice that you need to do this sometimes. So it's a struggle because some of these things in here, if you don't do it in a certain order in Blender, it will crash Blender because these are very powerful things in here, and it will take up your MacBook Pro, take up all its memory if you don't do it in the right order, because you're going to be compiling things on top of each other, and it's just going to blow up. So we're going to attempt to not do that this time. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to import a goose that is a big file. And when you import into Blender, you usually, unless it's really small, you want to you want to scale it down. So I'm going to scale it down to here. It's going to be big, but at least I can see it. It's not so big that it's like, like this. So now I want to scale it down a little bit more. So I'm going to hit S on my keyboard, move my mouse. I also notice it's below the grids there. Let's do a move. So I forget to move it. It is, so if I do, I forgot the keyboard shortcut again. But if you go over here, you can use that. You used to know it by heart. So here we go. Move above the grid, just because you can see everything that way. The grid's not in your way, for one thing. So now, let's zoom in. We want to smooth these things out here, right? So there's 3 modifiers I'm going to use to do this. You could jump right over here to try to use, you're in object mode right now. You could try to use sculpt mode. So if you go over here, you can try to use something like smooth, but, for example, it does work, right? So that might be good enough for you. And in fact, it might end up being good enough for me. But there's another way, using modifiers. So let's go and try to use modifiers route. So if you want to try modifiers, go back to your object, go back to object mode. We want to add about three modifiers. So I'm going to go to the modifiers tab over here. We're going to first add a smooth modifier. So this will help a little bit. It's not going to help a ton, but it will help a pretty good amount. So if you change this, notice how it's morphing, right? It's a little smoother than it was. We don't want to get bumpy either. So there we go. That's pretty good balance there. And then you want to just change the repeat a little bit more. See how the repeat's really, it's really even making it better. So, maybe up to 20 or something. That might just be good enough right there, right? But you might say, okay, we're done. It looks good to me, but you're not. Because what you need to do is you need to make sure that this thing's not too big. So if you go up here, you can turn on statistics and always see how many triangles and faces you have and vertices. So that it isn't very big. It's enough to be able to import into other applications, right? If it's over 500,000 or 300,000, you get a problem. So smooth seemed to do the job. However, if you don't think it's good enough, what you can also do is add another modifier called subdivision surface. So it takes a second to load this because what this does is it starts adding more vertices and edges and stuff to make it smoother. So it actually increases all this stuff, which is why this is taking more memory for this thing to actually load that modifier. All right, so it's loaded, but look what happened. We have over a million triangles and edges. So it is drastically bigger. which means that you're, it means Blender's going to slow down, period. Overall, it's going to start slowing down because there's just so much memory being eaten right now. Even in a Mac, and even in an M1. I'm not sure about M2, M3, and M4 because I have an M1 Mac, so it's probably better on those. I wish I had one, but for right now, so what we can do is we can say, okay, I want it even smoother, so we can start tweaking these. So if I do like a 5, you may not notice it because it's pretty smooth already, but that will even take it further. Which means when you start adding higher levels and higher renders, it's going to increase this even more because it's adding more things to smooth it, right? So that's going to keep jumping it up. So just be aware this may not be the modifier for you. Maybe this is good enough up here. Okay, so now look, see, it's, well, actually, no, it went down. That's interesting. I didn't expect that. Weird, because usually it goes, I think it usually goes up. I could be wrong. Well, we're still pretty good. I can't import this into, I could probably import it into Prusa Slicer, but I can't import it into Tinkercad. It's too big. Tinkercad is 300,000 is the limit. So, but look how smooth this is. So if I actually do this, like, let's go up one more, like 6 here. It's pretty darn smooth, right? So you're like, okay, at this point you're like, well, it's too big. What can we do? Well, you can just not use this one and play with smooth more, keep it small, or you can gamble. When I say gamble is, let's say this first, goose. You can gamble, or you can try to get around having to gamble. So let me show this. Goose. So the third modifier I want to show you, and here's the gamble, is the decimate. And again, adding this is going to take, I believe it's going to increase this as, again, let's see. So that took a good minute to actually load this, and it actually didn't change it. Sometimes it does change this. I don't know. Weird. Last time I added decimate, it actually, well, maybe because I changed, I don't know. Maybe because I changed the ratio, it did that. It was like over, it was like 100 million here. It was crazy. I don't know what happened. But anyways, this is the third thing you can try. So let's actually let's try to reduce this. So if I do 0.9, what happens? And this is where it might, actually, before we do this, let's save, because it can stall or crash at this point, because depending on how many vertices and faces and triangles you have over here, if you have a lot, trying to do this when your MacBook is losing memory at a great rate will crash this Blender. So if your PC is getting slow and Blender is getting slow, you might have to take some of these off, and it might be eating too much memory. So just keep that in mind. Why it keeps crashing all the time is because it's just trying to do too much. Your laptop can't take it. So we have saved it. At least we have it. This is probably good enough for me, but I'm going to try this anyways. We're going to do a 0.9 and pray. So at this point, I think it's going to stall and eventually hose my PC. So I'm just going to, what I'm going to have to do, forced to do at this point, is to force exit Blender. So let's try something else after this. So if I open this back up, this is a mess. I need to clean this up. Yeah, that looks ugly. I'm ashamed. Come on, open up Blender so people don't see this. Hurry up. I feel like my grandparents, like they have, my mom and dad would do something stupid like that, right? So let's open this up, and it may take a while to load because it still has that modifier on there, so it may take a bit to load this time. Alright, so clearly we are stuck right now. So what we can try to do is, I don't know if there's a way to disable this. I think you just have to, can you disable these things? Is there a way to disable? I don't know. I'm not experienced yet with Blender. I'm figuring things out. So I'm just going to remove these for right now and alleviate some of the pressure on this. Come on. Let's watch what happens. Oh, yeah. See, that's what happened. We just didn't see it blow up. So adding that decimate did blow this up. You can see to 300, almost 400 million. So that's why it was hosed. So when you try to add decimate on top of other modifiers, it blows up like crazy. So look at this. See that? Now we're back down there. So now what we can try to do is decimate first. I can say, hey, let's make this even smaller first and see how that goes. So let's even try this. So like 0.5. There it goes. That was fine. So let's actually make it really small. Let's make it, I don't know. I don't think I'm losing any quality, I don't think. So let's make it like 0.2. That's pretty small. So let's try that next. Let's try the next modifier, which is smooth, and see what happens. So maybe this is the route we should go. Probably it is. Smooth. Let's see what happens over here. Nothing. So if I do some smoothing, I'm sure it's going to go up, and the indices are going to go up a little bit, or the vertices are going to go up a little bit. So that's pretty good. So what happened over here? Just give it a second. Nothing? Oh, it's doing something. It doesn't like, it's taking forever. So what the? It is slow. So I want to use the arrow. So it does definitely. I'm surprised the indices, or I keep saying indices. Vertices aren't going up. Triangles aren't going up. They probably will in a second. We're getting smoother. Can we do a little bit more of this? Whoa, dude, it's getting slow. It is getting. So I come to, like, before we had it really smooth. What happened this time? I think it's just slow to show up. It's not as smooth this time. I wonder if it's because I used this first. It's interesting. So let's try to add now the third one, which is this one here. Let's see what happens here. I mean, it's still small. I think that's going to stay. Okay. So it seems like we got past the problem where this blew it up to like 400 million. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Let's see what happens if we do this. How much does that blow it up? A lot. But it's really smooth. So it seems like we are stuck again. So, interesting. I was hoping to get further than this. But if I do something like, what if I do this? What if I do like 0, 1? Is this gonna, oh shit. What happened to our goose? Let's undo that. I took too much out. It reduced it too much. Come on. Load for me, baby. Let's do 0.09. See if we can at least keep most of the goose here. Is it done? Whoops. 0.09. It's too much. So I think in this case we can either stick with, and we still can't export this and use it. It's too big. So I think we'll just stick with smooth, but that was good enough for me in the beginning, so I am going to delete these. But I just want to show you what we could do there's 3 modifiers you can kind of use, at least I know of, to try to smooth this out. Instead of having to go manual route over here and do the smoothing tools. So just be aware of that, and this saved me a lot of time. I didn't have to go and manually go through the whole thing and smooth it out and that kind of stuff, which is a pain. So hope this helps you.